Elder Heber C. Kimball, and I quote now, "The time is coming when we will be mixed up in these now peaceful valleys to the extent that it will be difficult to tell the face of a saint from the face of an enemy to the people of God. Then, brethren," he said, "look out for the great sieve, for there will be a great sifting time, and many will fall, for I say unto you, there is a test coming, and who will be able to stand?" Continuing with his quotation, "This church has before it many close places through which it must pass before the work of God is crowned with victory. To meet the difficulties that are coming, it will be necessary for you to have a knowledge of the truth of this work for yourselves. The difficulties will be of such a character that the man or woman who does not possess this personal knowledge or witness will fall. If you have not got the testimony, live right and call upon the Lord, and cease not until you obtain it. If you do not, you will not be able to stand." It seems to me that there are several practical conclusions that we can reach if we're to be prepared for the kinds of tests that have been mentioned by Elder Kimball. If we remain faithful to the covenants we make and follow the admonitions and example of Jesus Christ in this ripening world, we will find ourselves becoming increasingly different from the general worldly conditions around us. This will not be easy, but it will be absolutely essential. It is one of the tests we must be alert to the insidious, sometimes subtle pressures that are exerted on us by the world. And we must have the strength and the wisdom to resist them. There is no safety for us if we move in the same direction as the world is moving, but only at a slower pace. So much that is embraced by the world as acceptable cannot be embraced to any degree by us. This can apply to a wide range of things, to such things as the music we sing and listen to, the books, magazines we read, the movies, television programs we watch, the places we go, the things that occupy our thoughts, the honesty and fairness with which we deal with others, the capacity we develop to feel and manifest charity toward our fellow beings. The world's standards cannot become our standards. It will require our constant vigilance. President George Q. Cannon said on one occasion, "If the breach is daily widening between ourselves and the world, we may be assured that our progress is certain, however slow. On the opposite hand, if our feelings and affections, our appetites and desires are in unison with the world around us, and we freely fraternize with them, we should do well to examine ourselves." As an example or an illustration of what can happen when we invite the world's influence into our lives, let me share with you an experience I had just a few years ago. There was nothing particularly dramatic about the experience. I suppose it's something that occurs with some regularity. But it left an impression on me that I've not forgotten. It reflects upon this need for our being willing to be different from the world. I had received a stake conference assignment to a stake in Southern Europe. The young adults of that stake, learning that I was to come to their area, contacted me and asked if I would be able to come to their stake a day early so that I could speak at a special fireside they had planned for a Friday evening. I agreed to respond to their invitation. The fireside was well attended, There were perhaps 150 young adults who were present. It was an excellent meeting. Several of the young people spoke, shared their testimonies. A talented group provided a musical number, and then I made my remarks. There was an unusually fine spirit present. At the conclusion of the meeting, several of those who were present came up to the stand to converse with me. We were all basking still in the special spirit we had enjoyed during the meeting. As I visited with these young people, I noticed that a number of the young men were folding the chairs and removing them from the meeting room. At the same time, others were bringing in some folding tables that were placed along the wall, and some light refreshments were brought in and placed on them. It was apparent that a social activity had been planned to follow our meeting. Suddenly, the room was filled with a throbbing beat of what was supposed to pass for dance music. The volume was high, and the walls of the place literally shook. Our conversation at the front of the room stopped abruptly. I suppose the thing that made such a deep impression on me was that the spirit of our meeting was immediately gone. A house of worship had suddenly become a discotheque. The sudden contrast was remarkable. I couldn't help but wonder how quickly any spiritual good that had been accomplished in our meeting would be dissipated in the new environment that had been created. We'll need to give purposeful attention to those things that foster and nurture a spiritual influence in our lives. Regular study of the Scriptures, daily prayer, participation with other faithful saints in church meetings and in the essential saving ordinances. The only safety for us is to keep ourselves free from the enticements of a ripening world, as powerful as those enticements may sometime be. I have attempted to speak with plainness today about our time here on earth and what it will require of us. With all of the sadness and the difficulty and the tragedy we see about us, we must continue to recognize what a blessed time it is for us to be here. The gospel and the church of Jesus Christ have been restored in their fullness. We have living prophets to encourage and guide us. The priesthood authority is upon the earth again, enabling us to receive all of the ordinances and covenants essential for eternal life. We have the Spirit of truth to guide us, and we have the absolute assurance that in the end, goodness will triumph over evil. The Lord will come in His glory as He has promised, and we can look forward with to an eternal association with Him. These are realities that should give us hope and assurance, even in the midst of the tests and challenges that will surely be with us. The Lord has marked out the path for us to follow, just as He has done in earlier times. If we hold to it, we have every reason to be happy, to have hope, and to move forward with confidence and high expectations, even in a ripening world.